Now, the rest of the story.
All right, welcome back. Now, since you guys been watching a little bit of a backlog and all, everything that I had filmed up to, what was it, Friday or Saturday? Well, the video with Hannah last night was actually from Sunday. But any quick questions about her, really quick? She was here she contacted Ryan to do a on-the-job job shadow through her school, and she came down sometime about the second week of September, and she did that the first time. Then she asked if she could come down and help with harvest, and this past weekend just happened to coincide with when she was going to come down. So the thing is, now that we're looking at the light detection, I haven't gotten the light figured out on this GoPro, but I'll just stick over here. I'm going to be I'll just stand by the bench. But beans are done. Yes, beans are done. Yield was okay. Could always be better. We're not as good as last year. I was off last year by 10 bushels, 9 bushels. So at least it wasn't a double digit less than last year, but could have been better. The reason it was so low is because the lower strips, I ended up leaving a bunch of soybeans, actually 1.5 acres, due to the ground being too wet. I am not a rebel when it comes to running the risk of getting the combine stuck in mud. That is something I never want to experience in my life ever, with having to actually hook up to the combine and have to pull it out of the mud. Just you start popping and breaking, torquing things, and it's not worth it. No amount of crop is worth, well, the whole farm is one thing, but for what we're dealing with on our low spots where it's pretty common driving around the country. I said the same thing last year, if you guys were around last year, that last year there were a lot of low-lying crops that did not get harvested. It's the same this year, and to be quite honest, because we had 20 to 30 or so inches in the month of September alone, I think it's actually a bit worse. Maybe not. Yeah, it's worse than last year. Significantly. I don't know if I'd go that far, but the whole waterway down here on both sides of it is a complete loss. I could wait and try to wait for the ground to freeze up. Problem is there's water standing on it. So I'm sure we're going to have to sit and debate, just like last year, is why I'm not going to go out and try to harvest 1.5 acres. Well, that's what, 80 bushels? 100 bushels? 100 and some bushels? Well, the problem with doing that is then, is it really worth the fuel and the energy and the time wasted? Because time in the fall is coming at a premium. Just to harvest a little bit of beans to haul down 100 bushels to the river, it's just not worth it. So corn, it's dark out now and the 76 is still hooked up, so that's kind of whatever. We had some mishes in the grain bin. Go to Ryan's channel if you want to catch it. This is the first time I've touched my camera all day. I've been busy. The small harvester here, for what little bit you may or may not, of course you can't really see it, but we put in about 1,500 bushels of corn in that small bin. We don't need a lot. We're gonna probably have to throw a little bit more in there, but for the amount of steers we have and how long we'll have them, 2,000, 3,000 bushel really should carry us through. If this was like last year where we actually had the calves weaned off by September, that's a different story, but because we had issues with our bull last year, so all of our calves are about 2 months younger than what they really should be. Going off of the calendar, the bull really didn't start getting to work until right about this time last year, so that put us that much farther behind on when everything started to calve. So it's going to be cold and kind of miserable, but probably sometime December here we're going to have to go through and sort off all the calves, all of Ryan's, all of my dad's, and get them weaned off of Mama. So the grain bin, the stirrator has been an issue. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I'm not a big fan of stirrators. I thought it would have been better with, in this 20,000 bushel bin, the stirrator we have is built so much better than the one we have in that 10,000 bushel bin. The one in the 10,000 is just done. But I thought what we have in that Sioux bin, it's a DNC or DMC, whatever the heck it was. For as simple as it is to have as many issues as a guy can have with it, you know, I'm just moody, just because I'm so used to fighting the stirrator in this small 10,000 bushel bin growing up. I thought we pretty well were set when it came to this one. So what I'm actually looking at is a sensor that sits behind the augers up on top. So in the augers, let's see if I can't set this down. Of course I can't. So, okay, for the sake of argument, that thing's facing towards me because it's got this little switch here. If you can hear that. If that's facing forward, the auger is right in front of it. And if the auger, as the stirrator is going around the bin, is starting to lean backwards, meaning it's not pulling through the corn like it should and will as it's running. When the bin's full, it takes a little bit longer. It actually comes back and makes contact with this little button here, and it tells the motor on the end of the arm in the bin to quit moving, because that way it'll allow the auger to work its way through that corn and straighten out again. Great for mixing. It's another technology thing. It's great when it works. When it doesn't work, it's really wise not to go in there with the torch in your hand. That's just my opinion. I have absolutely zero experience with a continual flow dryer or a batch dryer or anything else like that. A lot of talk about it, but just the upfront cost to get started on it is kind of an issue, just because we have to put in yet another bin, another dry or a wet storage bin, just so we could put it through that dryer, and at least we'd be putting it into our storage bins dry. It would be nice to actually know what it is going into the bin, that it's dry, and you don't have to worry about quite so much. But this is just what we had to work with at the time that we did it. So 1 second here. Finish off the last more water. Kind of dry. We were working in the bin here for a while, but the plan is, and you guys will be seeing more of it as always. I mean, I think we did pretty good here for the last week. We pretty much have just hardly scratched the surface of corn. We have 22 acres out. We have several hundred to go yet. All of mine I can't even begin harvesting mine until next Friday, November 1st, just because I locked in all my contracts for November delivery. I also locked in all of my parents' contracts for November delivery. Basis narrowed up, improved, narrowed up. I guess it all depends on who you are and how you want to really refer to it. But it actually narrowed up to 0, so I got closer to 0. Just here lately, which is really uncommon, but I've been waiting for about a 25-cent under basis. I have never sold a positive basis ever. Someday, hopefully. But it was what, 35 under all summer long, through the weather scares and all other stuff. I mean, the marketers are just getting to the point where farmers tend to cry wolf. I mean, I hate to say that, but it tends to be a little bit of the truth. This year, it actually looks like it might be different. The crop may not be there, and I guess you got to be right every once in a while. And if the crop really isn't out there, we're actually starting to see a little bit of a harvest bump. Soybeans, go figure, they jumped 11 cents the day after I sold mine. So it's not the end of the world. I'm happy with what I got sold. But same thing with the soybean basis. That was like 70 under up here until like a week or two ago. I think just the cold, wet, crappy weather they're looking for beans, and I think they got down to, I don't know if it was 30 or 40. I don't know, because October and November are different bases. I don't know. I think one was 44 and one was 37. November, I think, was 37. It's irrelevant. I don't know how many of you actually understand what I'm really talking about. But the corn, it dropped down to 25 cents under the futures price. That was kind of the number I was holding out for. It was 28, 27 here for the last couple weeks. All summer it was 35 or so. Narrowed up to 30 for a little bit, and I was talking to Britt this morning, and I just hit refresh on the computer, and because I was up looking at all the markets and everything, and it changed from what, 28 to 25, and that's just the number I had in my head that I wanted to sell my basis or lock my basis in at, and that's what I did. So last year, I think it was last year, I ended up selling for like that 35 to 42 range under. So you can kind of understand what I mean as far as 25, I locked it in. It's all a regional thing. That's pretty common for us. Right now, a lot of the corn is going out in the rail. A lot of the soybeans are going down the river. The Mississippi, for those of you that don't know, we are on in the southwest Wisconsin. But corn fodder, we got 100 bales done. Not quite, but close enough. We're officially done with hay. We're sitting pretty good, and we just would like to get the last hay of Ryan's hauled in. The ground firms up here. It wouldn't really take very long to do it, but the weather has been really crappy. It washed out my driveway again. The amount of rain we got wasn't a lot, but it was just, it started and it didn't stop for a couple days. So yeah, that's a nice little update, right? Hope everybody liked the video with Hannah last night. I think she did pretty good for not liking me as much as everybody said she doesn't like me. I think she spent quite a bit of time around me, believe it or not. So, all right, I gotta go. My fingers are froze. It's that time of year where I start walking around aimlessly, wondering where my gloves went. That is not one of them. Son of a gun. So, oh well, I gotta go because supper's waiting. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Continue watching for those that like to watch the channel. If you do not like to comment, at the very least, hit the like button. It definitely helps the channel out. It keeps the channel from going stagnant. When the channel goes stagnant, it keeps me from getting too crazy wild about wanting to post videos anyway. If you would like to comment, go ahead and comment. Oh, what should we comment? What's the earliest snow that you've ever witnessed before? I mean, September, October, November, July? I mean, for us, we've seen snow in late September, so go ahead and comment down below and let me know. The last comment about everybody's favorite tractor, that one did really well. Was kind of surprised. I didn't see too many like Dutes, and I was hearing a lot of obscure tractors that I actually had to go Google up. So it is nice knowing that it's not all, green and mean, but reds. I didn't see too many blues. No, I didn't see any Challengers. A few Agcos, a lot of the older tractors, but I think that was a nice little turnout. So go ahead and comment down below, and what's the earliest everybody's seen snow in your areas, and make sure you comment that at least where you're at, so you're not saying Canada we had snow August or something like that, because that's a little different than somebody that's in Hawaii and hasn't seen snow ever. So, all right, I gotta go. Bye.